It's time to go balls deep.
The EA Sports College Football Headquarters Podcast.
All right, it is on.
Hey, all right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Balls Deep. I am your host, Anthony Scafacci, along with Alan Gigax. And before we get started, we are going to do our new segment just called Just the Tip. All right, our segment is brought to you by Deep Dick's Fishing Bar, Iowa's finest lakefront bar. You can fish right from your bar stool at their outdoor patio. Enjoy a drink with your rod in your hand. Hey, Al, what is today's Just the Tip?
Today's Just the Tip is when you are playing Dynasty mode and you finish kicking the ass of Washington State and it's time to exit out and save, and the game doesn't save. An error comes up that says unable to enter Dynasty mode or some bullshit like that. When that comes up, you're screwed. You can't save. If you progress past that screen, then it's just going to go back to the hub and you're going to lose everything and you're going to have to whoop that ass one more time. Now, if you have lost that game, hey, you know, that's an act of God. There ain't nothing you can do about that. But if you won that game, then there's a way out. And that is, don't progress past that screen. Just press that. I don't know if this works on Xbox, but on PlayStation, you press that PlayStation button and you just shut off your console. And somehow, most of the time, it saves. And then when you restart, boom, there it is.
All right. Thank you, Al.
Yep.
All right, everybody out there. Today we have a special guest. We have Joseph Fiorio, real estate mogul in Las Vegas, one of our sponsors, coming back on the pod. This time he's got some sleep. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, we're doing good, man.
You.
We're trying to get this episode going.
You know what?
And yeah,
little fun fact. Just the tip is all I have. So it's like a little turtle shell. So we're good.
Yeah, you got it.
It plays right into each other.
It's how you use it. You know, it's not the size of the boat. It's something like that.
Yeah. So my wife had a cervical cancer scare. And, they do that pap smear or whatever. They get down onto that cervix and they scrape it up. And we were worried that it was going to turn into cervical cancer. And so I make sure that when I'm plowing her, I give that cervix plenty of breathing room. I don't get anywhere near it.
All right.
It's like you in elementary schools.
Yeah, that's right. I got to stay at least 1,500 feet away.
Okay. So moving on. Today's hot topic. We have what is cheese. Now, for a lot of you guys, you're probably thinking, what the hell is he talking about?
Oh, it's Fromunda cheese, Fromunda your nuts.
Yeah, no, it's not that kind of cheese.
Oh.
It is the cheese that we see when you're playing online specifically, and sometimes offline. People decide to get a little cheesy and run up the score or run up their yardage or whatever. So, Joe, what is your experience with cheesy play?
It's happening quite often now. So I've been getting into, since the last time we spoke, I've been getting into the Road to College Football playoffs, and I've been playing that. I'm doing all right. I think I'm 20-4, 20-5. But with that being said, to me, it's using teams that are exploited, like just powerhouse nonstop teams, which I'm sure everybody does that, and I'm going to catch a lot of flack for it. But as well, it's calling those plays that are unstoppable. What I'm seeing is now swing passes out of the back to your running backs seem to be unstoppable at points. Still the out routes, still things like that.
Just me, because I play only the computer. And when the computer does like the running back goes in motion and then they throw it to him, and man, that destroys me. So play is broken.
Yeah. It's non-swing passes out of the back, non-stop, no huddle. There's an advantage to the offense. You could change up routes within, you could change all 4 or 5 receivers within a matter of, seconds. Whereas on defense, it's going to take you a little bit longer. So they can't adjust.
Yeah, it's been that way all the way back as far as I can remember. Pretty much once they allowed you to go no huddle and use hot routes and audibles, there used to be players online that would only call, say, like 2 or 3 plays, and then they would just hot route everything, and there'd be like one, like a draw play or a run play in there, and it was kind of like ironically enough, kind of like a precursor to the spread offense. Even back as far as I can remember, that is kind of cheesy because defensively you simply couldn't match up. They could call plays and have an infinite number of plays essentially while you're stuck in like man cover 2.
Right. Yeah, you got like 4 defense to choose from.
Yeah. And so Joe, what else would you feel constitutes as like cheese, man?
I feel running down the clock. You know what I'm saying? You're playing in 3-minute quarters anyway. I've played some people who just sit there and hit accelerated clock from the jump. Like, yeah, get the fuck out of here with that. Dude. Like, legitimately, you only get a couple drives anyway, and now you're going to try to shorten it either way. Whereas on the other side, they'd be pissed off if you were doing that to them.
Yeah. Sure, of course. Nobody. It's already a short enough game, 3-minute quarter, and then you put on 2 clock. I mean, like that's like 6 plays. The quarter's gone.
Yeah, exactly. So, I prefer to run the ball. So I had a guy telling me I was playing like shit because I ran the ball, and I told him, I just fucking stop it then. You know what I'm saying? Right. You're used to playing people who pass all day long. Well, change a different defense. Go into a 4-3 or go into a 4-4. Do something else. Don't just sit there and, in a nickel or sit there and, a 3-3-5 or something like that. And if you're going to let me do it, I'm going to do it.
Sure.
Just like Alan with those little kids.
Shots fired, man. So Alan, is there, you're a pretty straight up player when you play. Yeah. Do you do anything that you consider that you're kind of cheesy or no?
No, not even against the computer. But I don't even know what cheese would be. Like I pretty much never call 4 verts, even when I'm playing the computer. And no, dude, like I can't even consider what cheese might be, but I do kind of self-limit, like how you had the suicide playbook. We should probably talk about that at some point.
Yeah, we should do a whole episode on that.
But I try to limit my plays to maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the game. Like I don't have an official limit on them, but I try to change it as much as I can and think like if I was playing against a human, would I call this same play 5 times in a row? And no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I try to play the computer the same way.
So for me, one of the things that I feel has always been cheesy is to exploit the position changes and play people out of position. So like, for example, what you'll see is you'll see people take like a free safety with like 96 speed and they'll play him at like outside linebacker or defensive end. And the game doesn't quite do physics very well. So that free safety may be like 6'2" and 195 pounds. And yeah, he can run faster than my right tackle. But if my right tackle gets a hold of that dude, it's going to kill him. He's
it should be a pancake automatically.
It's one pancake block, and that guy might not come back into the game.
Dude, and there should be a button where your tackle can then, when he's on the ground, do the deep freeze.
Oh, yeah, from the old roller derby show.
Exactly.
Just lay on him and deep freeze him. Joe, is there anything as far as like position-wise, either offensively or defensively, that you think kind of exploits the game?
Not that I've seen, because here's the thing, I don't do it either. I play more straight up than others. I see people pausing and kind of doing that position switch as well, changing out their tight end for a wide receiver as well, which kind of leads on to what you were saying. Like, come on now, if you got to hit a block or you're coming across the middle, like you're going to get lit up, but they have that speed. So it just allows them to do that. And,
speed
and also like you said, yeah. And like the deep routes, like, it's no matter what you're in, sometimes it's just not there. Well,
right.
Yeah, well, that's where 4 verts, which is, in my opinion, it's always been like the most broken play in the game, comes in because the computer really has no way to stop it. The computer randomly selects plays based on like an algorithm on down and distance and things like that. And sometimes it just calls a bad play, just like it does on offense, where you're down at like the goal line and it wants to call 4 verts on offense.
Yeah. It's not just when I'm on Road to Glory and trying to accomplish something.
No,
they call bad plays all the time.
I think they do a little bit better, but it's
better than 14.
Yeah, it's definitely better than 14, but it's not like you've got some real offensive coordinator in there who's calling, a picture perfect game. And it's not even like you have better offensive coordinators in the game. Every computer controlled offensive coordinator calls plays similarly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
I think you kind of know what drives are going to score touchdowns. You just feel it because everything is going right, running down the field for them. Absolutely.
Well, sure. Well, and if you have my Buffalo defense, it really doesn't matter.
It's every fucking time.
Yeah, they're going to score pretty much anytime they feel like it. I feel like the only time they don't is when they pretty much have mercy. And so, yeah, it's pretty bad. What else would you consider to be cheese? Is there anything else, like a specific play beyond maybe 4 verts?
So what I've heard, I've never done it, but I hear like the laterals and the flea flickers and things like that. I hear their money as well, where you could hit those and just the defense doesn't adjust or doesn't know how to. So, but I don't run those. So I've just from the grapevine.
Right. What about one of the things that I do in my dynasties is I will take a faster offensive lineman and make them either my tight end or my fullback, or ideally both. And so I've got like this 315-pound fullback. Is that cheese?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so, because in our dynasty online right now, I have at the beginning of the year, there's position switches and stuff like that. And one of my top 2 tight ends was a kind of a move over from guard or tackle.
Yeah, there you
go. And he's 335 pounds and he's a tight end, which I asked Rich earlier. Yeah, I asked Rich earlier. I'm like, hey, at least change his number, but they wouldn't let me do it. So I got a tight end who's a 74 overall who catches decent. Who's number 72. Running down the field looking like a fucking Sherman tank.
Right. Dude, in my offline dynasty, it was number 77, Bear, and he was my fullback until his junior year when I switched him to tight end, and he went up to like a 93 at tight end, and he's amazing.
He's got soft hands.
He does,
like
Joe did.
Yeah.
Dude, does. Still does.
Yeah,
Still does.
That's what I was going to say. Is Joe in high school? Well, he always had
Pee-wee football.
Yeah, dude. Even in Pee-wee football, you had the softest hands. You could just catch.
Yeah, well, you know why? Because I used to throw him passes relentlessly,
right?
As a kid when he was younger than me, 9 years younger than me,
right?
And we would play catch all the time,
right?
And he would get like rewards for catching like 3 in a row, for example.
Oh.
And so, yeah, I mean, and Joe was born with that competitiveness that he really wanted to get that. Get completions. And so, it translated well.
Let's let Joe speak for himself. So how did that play out? Go ahead.
I used to sit up at night in my room with all the lights off, throwing a football up in the air and catching it in the dark as well. Wow. No lie. I would sit there doing that for like half an hour every night and do that. I don't know. I was a Rain Man when it came to catching.
Yeah, when I was around 12, I also found balls flying at my face in the dark. But
that was just your
uncle. Yeah, it's just my uncle, exactly. Dude, when we were up camping, Anthony's kid had done something, and Anthony's like, okay, we're not going to tell anybody that happened. And I said, Anthony, doesn't he know that's our little secret game? My uncle taught that to me real early on.
Yeah. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. But still, I mean, you want to hear something pretty funny. So one day, my wife was pretty upset with me.
Living next to elementary schools, it was for a reason. I'm just saying.
Right. All right, Anthony, what's your story?
So my wife was really upset with me, and she was yelling at me or whatever. And I go around the corner, and I turn back towards where she would be in the other room, but I got the wall between, so she can't see. And I just clench up, and I silently yell, and I give her the double birds, right?
Boy.
And
good
then
thing she doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, and then I turn around, and there's Alex, and he goes,
"Your kid, yeah,
yeah," and he goes, "I'm telling mom." Dude, I was ready to risk it all in bribery. I was like, "Do you want ice cream?" Like, dude, I was trying to change that subject as fast as possible. The kid, he had me over a barrel, man. Yeah. Like, I think he got like a motorcycle out of that. So
nice.
So
anyway, the big tight ends, like one of the things I noticed about him is that the linebacker or the defensive back can't get around them physically, like when the pass comes. And so a lot of times they'll just like kind of block out the defender, and that's fun.
So
But more fun than that is that when I'll see like my big tight end Bayer, that he would have like 8 catches in the game and 17 pancakes. And that's awesome.
okay, so now we've kind of covered cheese on the offensive side of the ball. What about defense? Is there like a cheesy defensive play or an alignment or set or anything that you think you found, Joe?
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Joe to
Joe is
technical
quiet.
difficulty?
Yeah. All right, keep talking and all.
So yeah. So anyway, so I think we may have lost him. It's possible he just went to go poop. But in the meantime, we're gonna figure it out. So I
Hello.
that.
He's back. He's
there.
back. All right.
Hello.
good deal.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know if you were able to hear us, Joe, but have you
I
found any
was.
defensive cheese?
Really, just along the ends, like you said, putting speed position guys out there at defensive end and things like that. I know there are some formations that are hard to play against, but I don't feel that's cheese. I feel just figure it out. Like there are some games that I've played where I can't get shit going on offense, can't throw the ball, can't do anything, can't run the ball. They're filling up the box, but you just got to figure it out. You got to be happy taking those 3-4 yards a pop and frustrating the other guy.
Right. Yeah. I usually, if I'm filling the box, that's satisfying for me. But yeah, not when the defense is doing it.
Are we talking about mail? What are we talking about here, Alan?
Yeah.
Clarification.
Yeah, mail.
You're an all-around box filler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, baby, I got a package. You want me to put it in your box?
Yeah, right.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway,
says no.
so yeah, so
Return to sender, and then he just goes and jerks off in the bathroom.
Refuse. Yeah.
so on the defensive side, the one play that I see on the headquarters page that you hear people talk about the most is like double mug formation and the mid blitz.
Yeah, I've heard
Is
that.
that they'll say like people spam the mid blitz. Now I haven't seen it. When I call that play, I don't seem to get any miracle defensive ability out of it.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe you get like a sack or something like that here and there, but also like the middle of the field is just
Wide open. Yeah.
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 So
So throw a quick hitter to your tight end or something like that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that guy's running for miles.
Yeah.
Or like angle routes, anything like that. That dude is your running back. He's wide open.
If you think it's cheese, it's probably because you're calling like 4 verts all the time or plays where they have to develop.
Sure.
And yeah, you don't know how to get around it. A lot of stuff that people get upset about, like people who claim that running is impossible. No, dude, you just don't know what you're doing. Like Joe, as someone who's played, do you watch the blocking matchups for your offensive line where you can like predict who's going to double team?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I change those things around that set the edge. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think what it is, I think a lot of people, they just want to hit that outside and run to the outside. There aren't that many people I see running up the middle and finding the holes and actually having the skill set to navigate and not, and be patient and not hit turbo right off the bat as soon as you get the ball. That's a big thing about it too. Right. Is just sitting there and being patient, let the hole develop and then hit it.
Right. Yep. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And so basically here's another angle that I want to talk about, and that's cheese versus money, right? So some plays are just money plays that work fairly consistently, but they're very stoppable and they don't typically gain you lots of yards. And one of the money plays that you hear people talk about a lot is the stretch play. I run the stretch play pretty often. I know Joe probably runs the stretch play pretty often.
I run duo. I run the duo. Yeah.
You run the duo. What do you?
Yeah.
What's
the
big difference between the duo and the stretch?
I think the duo is right off the furthest lineman's ass, and the stretch is kind of just as you said, stretching it out, a little bit wider. Where I think most of the time you have that pulling guard as well.
On a duo, you can go inside the tight end.
Yeah.
And on a stretch, you're intended to go all the way out. But also on a stretch, one of the things that I like about it is you can turn it upfield at any point. When you're stretching it out, you see that gap, you just head upfield.
So for me, I think money plays are perfectly fine. I think everybody has them that plays that they favor. And that's where like the cooldowns and the play limits come into play. And so some people don't like those, the cooldowns and the play limits. Oh, people complain. They don't want any of that stuff.
Right.
But let's talk about, to kind of get back to cheese.
Yeah, because I want to talk about my money play.
Okay, what's your money play?
All right. On defense, I run the 4-3 as much as I can.
Sure.
And in the 4-3, I forget what version of it is.
Okay.
But it's where the outside linebackers are like extra defensive ends.
The 6-1.
Yeah, it's essentially it might be called that.
It is the 6-1.
So there's one where both of the outside linebackers blitz.
Yeah.
And dude, that play, it's like 3.1 yards average on that play. Yeah, compared to every other one, it's like 5 yards, 6 yards, whatever. And yeah, whenever I have like a really big third down, or like down on the goal line or whatever, I will call that play, and it's very effective. But
did it work against Joe?
Nothing worked against Joe.
Yeah.
No.
So for you guys out there in our dad's league, recently, Alan, who uses Hawaii, and Joe, who used Colorado State, they played, I think, for the first time, right?
Yeah.
You guys didn't play.
We've only played
season.
This is just
Yeah. And Joe, how did that game go?
Great. Yeah, it went. It went pretty much after the third quarter. I could just run what I wanted.
Yeah,
dude, it looked like in the first quarter you were able to run what you wanted.
No, yeah, it went all right. Like I said to Alan, I was trying to tell him, like, I think his downfall was the fact that he was stuck at that middle linebacker. Like, he used him the whole game, and I caught on to it, and I'm like, oh, let me just pick a route where one of my guys has to be covered by that linebacker because it's going to be hard as hell for him to cover him. And then I just exploited that.
Yeah. So, Anthony will try to give me advice and just talk my ear off. I mean, you're his brother. You know how he just won't shut up with his advice.
I stopped trying to talk to my brother a time ago.
When the pupil becomes the master, then what's the point?
So anyway, but dude, in playing Joe, like, he kicked my ass so thoroughly, and then he said at the end of the game, like right before the mic shut off, he's like, maybe don't play middle linebacker only, the whole game.
Yeah.
And I thought about it because I don't like playing defensive line. To me, it's kind of boring, and I want to be more.
Which is crazy because you're a lineman. Like, I love playing defensive line because I know how to use those swims and rips and stuff like that where I enjoy them. So it's kind of odd.
Maybe at some point I'll get into it, but I like playing line, and I can't play defensive back because, dude, it's even worse.
You get fucking murdered.
Yeah. So what I finally decided after the game with you is, like, sometimes the outside linebackers have an easier assignment. They just go cover the flat or something like that. And so since then, I started playing whichever linebacker position I felt was going to be the easiest assignment. And dude, I've gotten a lot better since then.
There you go. What do you fucking know?
Yeah, isn't that something? So yeah, now the next time we play, you're not going to know what fucking direction I'm coming from.
All right,
Fair enough.
We got one more thing before we get to our sponsor, and it is one quick little topic that I want to hit, and it's probably honestly the most controversial cheese of all, and I'm surprised we didn't talk about it. Going forward on fourth down.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, leagues have entire rules about fourth down.
Yeah.
And, Joe, how do you feel about it?
I feel it's all situational. I feel that it is definitely geared towards the offense. That was something I wanted to touch on when we were talking about the college football playoff as well. Is that I'm playing these dudes, and it's 4th and 16, 4th and 17. I stuff them 3 plays in a row, and then they just hit this big fucking fourth down play, which is bullshit. Like, come on, the computer needs to adjust for that, and it doesn't. So there's essentially there's no penalty for really going for it. I guess losing the ball and right there, but the chances of you getting it, they need to go down. And tremendous.
Well,
and
you're really just trading a punt where they're guaranteed going to lose the ball versus going for it. And even if they complete it and gain 15 yards, but not 16, well, it's half of what they would have got out of the punt anyway. And so, the opportunity to go for it, it's just too juicy. And so, I don't really know how I feel. I think as long as it's not abused, it's okay. But man, I'll tell you, there's
like 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Okay. Yeah. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, sure. And like I said, I've
Alan,
played
If you're on
people
the
who are,
opposing side of the field, right? If you're in the
I
opponent's
think,
territory,
I think you're like the you're 40 and over, you're 40 and up. You know what I'm saying? I'd be all right with it, but it just depends. It
Right.
depends on how the game's going. Now, if I'm up, 35-6, no, I'm just
right,
fucking punt it away.
yeah, in that situation, yeah.
But if it's a tight
I
game
just
where I'm losing, I need a yard, sure.
in my offline dynasty, I just lost a game that way. I had the ball down to like the 32 or so, and it was 4th and 1, and I was up by 2 points.
Uh-oh.
And I could have kicked the field goal, but it was in whatever my opponent's field was,
Sure.
and kicking is hard.
Yeah, it's still hard from that
Yeah,
distance.
That's a little bit
and
harder. Yeah.
I knew like it was possible to make the kick, but not very likely.
Sure.
And so I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. And I got stuffed. And of course, they went down the field, kicked the field goal, and I lost.
Got the rouge.
Yeah,
And that was that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So, everybody, I want to go to today's sponsor. Alan, who is it?
Today's sponsor is Squirters Juice Bar. This week's episode is sponsored by Squirters Juice Bar. Stop in for a refreshing and satisfying splash of the finest juices the Boston area has to offer. Unlike other juice bars, Squirters also offers self-service. When you pick out your produce and press that button, the juice doesn't just drip into your glass, it gushes. Guaranteed to satisfy any thirst. Remember, at Squirters, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Get your face in the place.
Oh, Squirters coming big. All right, everybody. That is going to be it for today. But before we sign out, I want to ask all of you, our listeners, for a favor. I want you to help us grow this podcast. I want you to recommend this podcast to just one other person. Hey, you like it. Tell them why you like it and see if they're willing to listen, because our members, you guys are awesome and you guys know who you are. Jacob Butler, Jacob Crow, Nick Leonard, you guys are out there and you guys are some of our biggest fans and we appreciate you guys. So that is going to be, Alan, you got
I
one
got
other
something
thing?
else too, is we now have an email address.
Oh yeah. What's our new email address?
reachballsdeep@gmail.com. Dude, you guys would not believe how many other email addresses that include the words balls deep already taken.
Yeah.
Including balls deep 69, balls deep 420, go balls deep, all that stuff. So we are reachballsdeep@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a message there. So if you want to come on the show, anything like that.
All right.
And
For
also
Alan,
send,
go ahead.
I was going to say, send Alan all your ball pictures there as well, too. He'll appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
All right. For Alan Geegak, for our guest, thank you, Joe Fiorio from LV Full House Real Estate, coming on today. And for me, Anthony Scafati, that's going to be it. We are out.